Detroit Lions fans, Detroit Den 313 back with another episode. Before we get going, you know what to do. Bang that subscribe button. You guys have been killing it. We're super close to that 10K. 10K. We're back at it. Steve said he's going to give away $1 million worth. No, let me stop before.
Steve doesn't have $1 million. Steve's never seen $1 million.
Yeah. No, but hey, listen. Hey, we gave away, what was it, 750 or something like that last time. We said we're going to do it as big or bigger. We got a couple people that have also volunteered to chip in and help us out on it. So we're going to bring their stuff with our stuff. We're going to do another major giveaway at 10K. So keep hitting that subscribe button. But to the business, Steve, what we talking about, man?
We got some injury update news, some stuff going on with the Detroit Lions. I'll bring it in. This kind of, I told you, Aidan Hutchinson, when we posted a video of him walking in the pool and, walking through the Ford Field without a cast on with a noticeable limp, I was like, that's not going to excite me until I start seeing some football activities, Will. Until I start seeing some stuff like this. All right. It's something small. But just Hutch out there running. I don't think he's running 100% dead sprint, giving everything he's got, but he's putting weight on that leg, as you can see right there. I think it was his left leg that's broken. So there it is right there. I think he's got either some type of really high sock or maybe a compression on that. But still, I think that this is positive news. All right. This is at least some football movement in a way, instead of walking in a pool where you're only putting about 20% of your weight on there and you're kind of doing the granny crawl and, walking very gingerly to the elevators to get up to the suites in Ford Field. I think that this is a phenomenal step. Well, does this excite you at all?
It didn't look good. It did not.
Look what do you mean?
It did not look graceful. It did not look. Yeah, no, it does not make me feel good. It does not excite me. Aidan, be careful, man. Be careful doing what you're doing. I know that you're under the microscopes with trainers and doctors and everything else. But hey, listen, we're in no rush now. Take your time, buddy. Take your time. For all those people that were yelling at us about wanting to get him back for the Super Bowl, listen, there is no Super Bowl now. Okay? Not until this upcoming season. Let's take your time and get this thing right, is all I'm going to say about it. It didn't look graceful. Kind of looked like, I don't know, like Sasquatch mixed with like Jason Voorhees. It just didn't look smooth. It didn't look smooth. But I am excited he is doing something that is comparable to football things. But let's just not rush this thing, is all I'm going to say about it.
Well, we don't really have to rush much. We have nothing but time now until the next season starts. So, I don't think that posting this video now means that he would have been ready for the Super Bowl. I think that was a pipe dream. When they first said it a couple days after the injury that, this is a 4 to 6 months thing. And, the Super Bowl happens to be like 5 months from now, whatever it was when it first happened. People got excited. And I said, it's great. I like to see progress. I like to see the pool stuff. I like to see him walking with his, his crutches and all that. It's exciting to think about Hutch on the Detroit Lions, but a Super Bowl, I don't think that was realistic. But I'm more than happy that he's going to be ready for the 2025 season. And then we got some other news with Alim McNeil. I'll just show the video. I don't know exactly what's going on here. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a physical therapist or anything in the medical field. So if someone can break this down for us and tell us exactly what's happening in this video or what the purpose of this is, I know it's very minimal, the amount of weight he's doing here in these little, I don't even want to call it a half squat, like maybe the first stage of sitting on a toilet squat. I don't really know what to call this move, but someone let us know exactly, if you're in the medical field, like what the purpose of this is and what they're trying to read, what's on that little iPad there, what's going on. We'd love to have some more information. So how do you feel about Alim? Do you think he's going to be ready for wrong video. My mistake there. Technology, not my thing. What do you think's going on with Alim? Do you think he'll be ready at the start of the season for 2025?
I don't know. The thing looked like it was like gauging force into the ground maybe or something like that. But do I think he'll be ready for the upcoming season? Listen, science has come a long way now. It's come a long way from guys, when they tore stuff up and then, it took them years to get back right. So I fully expect that he's obviously, due to the timing of his injury, he's probably not going to be ready for camp, but he'll be ready early in the season, man, to get back with the Detroit Lions and do his thing. I think that he'll be impactful in the upcoming season. So Alim, not worried about him, not worried about Aidan. Guys are getting the top of the line care. And they're rehabbing aggressively. I think of Alim and how he transformed his body, the work and dedication and that discipline that had to be he had to put into that to be able to get that done, man. I fully expect him to be treating rehab the same way. So these are two pros, man. They'll be back and they'll be impactful. Not
He got hurt in the Buffalo game, right?
Man, I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure it was the Buffalo Bills game. I could be wrong. So that was in December. So if your ACL takes, I think it wasn't his ACL. I can't even remember exactly which ligament he tore. Knee injury, had to have surgery, whatever. He's out for the season. Most times, it takes about 12 months to get back to fully in shape for football season. So with the season starting in 6.5 months here, with training camp and all that, I don't think Alim is going to be ready. Okay, so let me ask you this, kind of tying this into free agency in the draft. Do you think that D tackle is more of a position of need because we won't have Alim McNeil until, I'm just guessing, probably around Thanksgiving, and that's a good chunk of the season where I think he's going to be a full, the old Alim McNeil, like ready to go. He might get some reps in here and there before that, but I think when he's 100% and seeing his normal snap count, I'm just guessing sometime around Thanksgiving. So do you think that we need to address that in free agency or the draft?
I would like to see another defensive tackle, even if Alim was healthy. So yeah, I definitely think that it's a place that we need to address in free agency or the draft or both. I would like to see my boy Pecco get brought back to the team, who's going to be a free agent. I thought that he offered some things to the Detroit Lions, but yeah, man, we definitely need to address it in free agency or the draft, in my opinion. We need some depth all across that defensive line, and I'm just excited for some of these guys that are going to be in the NFL draft. I know we haven't talked prospects in a couple of days, but there's some out there. I know we already talked about Mason Graham. If you guys haven't watched that episode, I thought that was a phenomenal episode. I do agree with some of you, like, hey, he's going to be a top 10 pick, in my opinion, unless he slides for some reason because of the things that he did to my son. He was yelling and screaming at my son at one of the Michigan games, and my son cried. And I think that he should slide to the Detroit Lions. Now, I will say, even though my son has recovered, and if the Detroit Lions draft him at 28, we'll be fine with it. But I mean, the rest of you teams, man, you guys don't want a guy like that on your team. And his arms are really short. So stay away from Mason Graham. Let him go ahead and slide to the Detroit Lions. And, in Michigan, him and my son can recover from all of the trauma and turmoil, counseling together and all those types of things. You know what I mean, Steve?
I heard a rumor that he didn't hold the door open for an old lady at the grocery store. So that just makes him automatically undraftable. When he comes to pick 28, I think the Lions should just sprint to the podium and just say Mason Graham's name, just for the sake of the rest of the NFL, just to take the pressure off of him. And, we'll sort out his problems later on. So I'm with you. Even if Alim McNeil and Aidan Hutchinson are both 1,000% healthy at the start of training camp, I'm still on board. I think going into this draft, you need a defensive end and another D tackle, because we're talking all off season. What's the saying? Trench warfare, waves of pass rushers. So we got our first line defense pretty much 75% set with, a question mark at that other defensive end. And then, we got a Levi Onwuzurike, a Josh Paschal, maybe a John Kaminsky, maybe Marcus Davenport on that second, third lines. Like, we're just talking first line wave, second line wave, like guys who could just consistently get after the quarterback. So even if Hutch, McNeil are a full go in training camp, I'm still going into this offseason free agency and the NFL draft with the mindset of get at least one more player that's a starter and another defensive lineman, tackle preferred, maybe defensive end, that can come in that second group and still get some meaningful snaps to get after the passer too. So regardless of their injury status, my mindset's still the same for the offseason.
Yeah. And just so Steve, you nailed it, man. Bills game ACL. So
okay.
ACL,
I wasn't at the Bills game, so that's why I couldn't remember. That was one game I missed this year.
Yeah. So yeah, Bills game towards ACL, and this is saying that his timeline is undetermined, and that's as of January 19th. So that's pretty recent article that I'm looking at. So exact timeline is undetermined due to the nature of his rehab. Depends on how does rehab go smooth. Do they have any setbacks? Yada yada yada. So I don't know, man. Bottom line is at some point in the 2025-2026 season, Alim is going to be ready. I would imagine, man, with how aggressively they do rehab now, and I'm sure he's still doing upper body type things. He's not just going to sit around and not be preparing the rest of his body and doing things that he can do with the rest of his body as he's rehabbing and going along with that ACL recovery the proper ways, man. I would imagine he's getting as prepared as possible, and I would expect for him to be impactful this year, man. Yeah, at some point.
And we need both of them. All right. These are the two best pass rushers on the Detroit Lions. And we've said it. The St. Brown brothers have said it. It doesn't matter how good your corners are. You could put random Joes out there at corner if you're getting after the passer. These are our top two guys when it comes to that category, getting after the passer. Yeah, we need a Brian Branch. Yeah, we need a Kirby Joseph, Carlton Davis. Hopefully he comes back and resigns. Terry and Arnold. Yeah, you want good corners just in case, but it really doesn't matter if the quarterback's running for his life. I mean, you guys have watched the Super Bowl. You've seen what happened to Patrick Mahomes. They were just getting after him. Didn't matter who he had at wide receiver, okay? It didn't matter if Tyreek Hill was out there. If Patrick Mahomes doesn't have time to throw the ball, it really is irrelevant what's going on in the back half of a defensive play. So these are our two most important pieces. This is major update, especially with Hutch. I have no doubts that he's going to be ready for the opening day training camp. He was already talking about playing last season. So I'm confident in him. This was mostly to kind of see where we're at with Alim McNeil. Posted that little clip of his therapy, and it just got me thinking, like, we talked Mason Graham the other day in the draft, and we didn't even mention Alim McNeil's name. So jump back on here today and do a little update. I've seen some reports that he might be ready by early to mid-October, but I just have my doubts. Those ACL injuries, that's a 10-month recovery from December, so that's kind of a short span. And we've seen Brad and Dan Campbell, they're not going to rush a guy back from injury the day he's cleared and he's ready to go. They're going to ease him back in. So for everyone who says early October, mid-October, I'm probably looking more towards Thanksgiving. So that's a significant portion of the season where I think we should address this defensive tackle maybe a little bit more aggressively now, especially in the draft to get some more depth there.
Yeah, man. I know typically ACLs are before you're really not thinking about it anymore, even though there's still going to be some psychological things. That's 12 months, man, typically. So 10 to 12 months, in 10 months you could be out there, but you're still going to be having some things going on with it. But I mean, he's a defensive tackle. And although I know that science is science, that's a lot of man. That's a lot of man that knee's gonna have to support, man. So I don't know, man. Alim, we're not trying to rush you back, man, either. It'll be come back when you can get back. But the bottom line is I think he'll be impactful because listen, the Detroit Lions are going to be able to win football games without Alim. We've shown that we could do that. And we still got DJ Reader. We still got whoever we sign in free agency. We still got whoever we draft. So I think we'll be okay. And man, how great is it going to be a playoff team getting all pro type players back when it's time to make that run at the end of the season? So I don't know, man. I'm happy to see those guys working, rehabbing, getting after it. Wish nothing but the best for them. But let's go ahead and let's knock a home run in this draft, man. Like we said, when people find out about Mason Graham yelling and screaming at my son, they're probably gonna be just wanting him to be able to come to Detroit, man, and come to these Detroit Lions so he can make that right. And, he'll be able to step in and hold things down for Alim. So no big deal.
You feeling up to a gentleman's bet?
if we're betting whether or not the Lions get Mason Graham,
no. Kind of off topic, but gentleman's bet. We'll say we'll bet lunch at work one day, whether that's ordering something or going to the cafeteria, loser pays. But I'm willing to bet that there's going to be a comment on this episode that someone says, well, Adrian Peterson came back from an ACL injury and he rushed for 2,000 yards and it was less than a year. Are you wanting to take that bet, Will?
Adrian Peterson isn't 300 pounds.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's going to happen. Someone's going to reference it. Someone who didn't stick around to the end of this episode is going to say, these guys are clowns. They don't know what they're talking about. AP came back and ran for 2,000 yards after a torn ACL. It's coming. Anything else for tonight?
No, that's it, man. Just excited, man, for these guys to come back because it's a ton of injuries. It's not even just those guys, man. So just Detroit Lions coming back, getting healthy, rehabbing, taking the offseason, man, to take care of that business, man, because next year we're going to be the healthiest team in the league. Knock on wood.
And the deepest team in the league. I think our defensive line is going to be a problem if we do what I want. But I'm not Brad Holmes. Stick around, hit that like button. We'll be back later with another show.